Hello, this is Jennifer Hasser, Executive Director of Syllables Learning Center, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to read a progress report. What you'll find is we'll be sending progress reports home monthly, and this is some information you'll need to be able to interpret what you are seeing. This progress report will come home once a month from a therapist, in addition to the 5-minute conversation you have at the end of sessions after every session with your therapist. We write these on a rotating schedule based on the last name of the student. So you might get yours at the beginning of the month, you might get yours at the end of the month, depending on your last name. The progress report is pretty easy to read. What we have done is broken it down into measurable goals. So these are goals that we want your student to be able to master before moving on to new content. We want to make sure that students master our concepts orally, in their writing, and visually, which is receptively as they're looking at things, while also building memory capacity critical to reading fluency and comprehension. So what will happen is we'll be introducing, let's say you're on consonants. We have several different progress reports depending on what content your child is working on. So obviously if your child is here for math, you're not going to get a consonant progress report. But we want you to see that the measurable goals are listed below every concept. So this is visual identification. They can pronounce voiced and unvoiced consonants correctly, that they can write them during auditory drills, that they can match the pairs, that they can assign the appropriate sound or letters, depending on whether it's done receptively or expressively, that they can hold 3 sounds or letters in short-term memory for dictation, that they can also manipulate sounds and letters during our tracking exercises, and that they blend those sounds together, because this is all pretty important for the acquisition of reading skills. Now, what you'll see in the first 3 columns are the columns proficient, in progress, and not introduced. Proficient means that the goal has been mastered. In progress means that the goal has been introduced and the student is working towards mastery, and not introduced means we have yet to have taught that concept. You may wonder sometimes why a student is in progress for a while, but we are not just introducing one consonant, we're introducing lots of them, and they'll be learning them cumulatively. So we want to make sure that they can utilize all of them and utilize all of them well. And once we feel like they can, then we're going to be moving on to new content. When we get to vowels, the vowels that are going to be introduced are in a line across the top of that section, and we'll circle the vowels that have been introduced. We'll start with E, and then go to I, and so on. This is actually a linear representation of our vowel valley, which is a oral motor linguistic way of teaching the sounds to kids to help them anchor to them better. What you'll see on these goals is the same thing. We're going to want them to be able to identify them visually, that they can pronounce them correctly, that they can write them correctly, that they understand the vowel valley story, because we have a mnemonic that goes along with our curriculum to help them to anchor to sometimes what seems like, boring or rote phonics information. That they can match the vowel to keywords. We have keywords because a lot of these vowels sound so similar, especially in the South. A pin versus a pen, that confusion can hold kids up for a little bit, but they need to know those because they are the most common sounds in multisyllabic words. We want to make sure that they can read real words and nonsense words. Nonsense words are so incredibly important because when we get to multisyllabic words, a lot of those syllables are really just kind of like nonsense words put together. And then also that they can blend sounds into words. And all of these skills really play off of prerequisite skills that we screen for when they first come in, which is their phonological awareness, their short-term auditory memory, working memory, and just that ability to manipulate information. There's also going to be a comment section that's going to be handwritten, and so on the comment section what you'll get is a brief summary of the skills that they've been working on and some recommendations of items to practice at home. Now remember, the more you practice between sessions, the faster content will be mastered. We work as quickly as we can with every student because our goal is to get them to mastery as soon as possible. However, we can't sacrifice retention. So once a child can prove to us that they know it, we continue to move on. If we move on and we find that during review there are some holes, we'll go back and we'll review some more and make sure we shore up that material before we move forward. A lot of kids can master for the short term and regurgitate that information and then they forget it. So we don't want that to happen. That's what happens a lot of times at school is they get an A on every spelling test, but when it does not transfer into their writing. We want to make sure that this content is in there for the long term. But if you ever have any questions or concerns about the progress reports and you want to set up an appointment to meet with us, we're happy to discuss progress with you in person and go over their folder with you, or we can do it over the phone. In the afternoons when we're busy and going from one student to another is probably not going to be the best time, but we're happy to set up something mutually convenient to make sure that you feel comfortable with everything that we're doing. If you want some more information about some of the activities and some of our content at Syllables Learning Center, please visit our YouTube channel under Kendor Learning /Syllables Learning Center. And thank you and have a great day.